Hi guys, today I am back to film my June favorites, honorable mentions, and unfavorites. And there goes the sun. Anyways, I feel like this month was kind of all over the place for beauty products. I was kind of stuck in a rut the first 2 weeks, and then the last 2 weeks was a lot of just trying new products and stuff. So kind of all over the place, and just, you know, trying a lot of new stuff. But I do have some favorites and honorable mentions and unfavorites, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with those. First things, there's a lot of things in my favorites that are from my Sephora Playbox, which is surprising because so far the Sephora Playbox to me has been a little bit disappointing. You know, it's kind of been all over the place, at least to me. There are some products that I'm like, okay, you know, I'm really excited to try this. I'm super glad I got it. And then there's other ones where I'm like, oh, I really wish I wouldn't have gotten this at all because there's just no way I'm gonna like it or use it. And that's kind of where this product was at. I was like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have got that because I don't think this is going to work for me. I'm hardly ever going to use it, but it's a favorite and I'm going to be repurchasing the full size. This is the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Sheer Sun Serum Bronzer. I got this out of the box and I was just kind of like, this probably isn't going to look very good on me. And I'd also, I think, heard a couple of reviews that had said that this wasn't very good, that it was too orangey and that kind of thing, but I don't know. It, to me, is the most beautiful, natural looking bronzer ever. This is one of those things that if I'm wearing like no makeup or very minimal makeup that I will still apply just because it looks so beautiful. I remember Jaclyn Hill had done a tutorial, and I think it's Brianna Fox. They had both talked about the Guerlain, like the liquid bronzer, and Jaclyn Hill was talking about wearing it with like basically no foundation and just wearing it like when she's going to the beach and swimming and stuff just to get a little extra bronze. And I was like, man, you know, that's nice, but like liquid bronzers, just liquid and cream in my opinion, just don't really work for me. So I always like powder bronzers. But this, I see now what people mean by like liquid bronzers and cream bronzers being fantastic, because this one actually does work for me. It works with my really fair skin, but you can easily build it up and get darker. I think that it probably wouldn't work for anything past like medium skin tones, because I'm thinking even medium tan, it's probably going to be too light and not really show up. But it is really liquidy, it is very serum-like, but it's just such a beautiful, like natural looking bronze that I couldn't get over it. So from the day that I started using it until I think like a few days ago, I was using it consistently every single day. Unfortunately, I am out now, so that kind of sucks. So I do have to get the full-size one, which the full-size one is $28, but it is drastically bigger. So I'm kind of like debating because $28 to me for a liquid bronzer kind of seems like a lot, but I don't know. Anyways, the way that I apply this is I just have this BH Cosmetics, it's kind of a fluffier angled brush, and I would just do 1, 2, 3, and then I kind of would stipple it on where I'm going to want it, and then I'll go back through and just blend it out. And it just, like I said, most natural, beautiful looking bronze. I've been obsessed with it, so I am very excited to go pick up the full-size one because I do love this so much. I'm just going to get the Sephora Playbox things out of the way because there's quite a few of them. Next up is the Tarte Guard SPF sunscreen. I was just kind of like, well, this is nice, but I don't really feel like it's going to be anything I'm going to love. It's just going to be a nice basic sunscreen. I'm in love with it. The main reason I'm in love with it is it just feels like a nice lightweight moisturizer. I feel like a lot of SPFs tend to feel really greasy, and with my oily skin, that's just not something I want. I hate feeling greasy and oily. It's been happening a lot lately, and it's not because of this, it's just my skin. But this, like, it's just such a nice lightweight sunscreen that doesn't feel like sunscreen, doesn't have that greasy feeling. So I really like it. It wears really nicely under makeup too, which is another thing that I know a lot of people are like, oh, you know, the reason I don't apply SPF is because it's kind of greasy and I don't want my makeup going anywhere. This really just like I said, just feels like a lightweight moisturizer. It soaks in, it doesn't feel greasy, so it works perfectly under makeup, which for me is like the main selling point. But anyways, it does come in a cute little glass bottle, even the little baby one, so that was kind of cute. But this I'm kind of debating on repurchasing because it is kind of another pricier item, but it is really, really nice. So that has been a huge favorite of mine. This product I do have the full size of, but the reason I'm using it is because it came in my Sephora Playbox. It is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. This is the one that came in my Playbox, and you can kind of see it is like almost gone. Otherwise, I did pick up a kit the other day that actually came with a sample of it, so I have another little sample and my full-size one. I've used the full size one before and I was like, yeah, this is really nice, like it gives me a nice glow. And then as I was kind of using it, I was like, it's nice, but you know, I'm just going to switch back to the other things that I like. But I was like, well, it's always kind of my goal to try to use up my Sephora Playbox samples by the time I get the next one. That way I'm not just constantly building up samples, and plus I want to make sure that I'm not like, oh cool, I'll try this later and throwing it in a bag and forgetting about it for months. That way I'm kind of making myself use them. So I was like, you know, I of course want to use this up before the next one comes. I'm obviously going to hit that because I don't have a lot left, but I'm just very impressed, surprisingly. Even though it is summertime and my makeup is trying to melt off my face and just disappear because of how oily I am, because it's so hot outside, just a number of factors, this actually works really, really well. Because normally during summertime I have to use a mattifying primer, and this one here is a little bit more moisturizing. It's not super moisturizing, but it is a little bit more moisturizing than something I would typically use. It does have a little bit of like a shimmer or a sheen, kind of a pearl thing going on with it, but it's so beautiful. The reason that I love it is just because under any foundation, BB cream, whatever it is, it just gives me this like beautiful, like radiant, glowy, youthful look, which I'm really, really obsessed with. Again, it doesn't last terribly long just because we are in that season where it's really hot, but I'm pretty impressed because I feel like it does actually do pretty well even though it is so hot outside, and I do feel like my makeup lasts pretty decently long with this. So I'm actually really, really impressed with this because originally purchasing it, I was like, it's nice and I really, really like it, but I don't think it's, you know, I'm not obsessed with it, and now this month I'm obsessed with it, and I can't wait to pull out the full size one and use it all the time just because I love, you know, the radiance that it kind of gives my skin. So this has been another huge favorite. These two things will be gone very quickly, and then like I said, I'll probably start using my full size one. Another favorite are these BH Cosmetics brushes. So I don't know, I know I've talked about them in a haul, and I think I've talked about one or two of them here and there, but I don't know if they've ever actually been in a favorites video. You can tell these ones are all the bigger ones because I do have some smaller ones, like this one here. There's kind of basically smaller versions of the big ones, and the small ones are nice too, but the big ones, they've really captured my heart. So this one, they just have little numbers. This is the 116. As you can see, it kind of looks like the Sigma flat top kabuki brush. This one does have more movement to it than the flat top kabuki does. I feel like the flat top kabuki brush is a little like, what's the word, a little bit more like pinched in, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't have as much movement and it doesn't move around as much as this one does. But this one I love for liquid foundations. It's beautiful, nice, and I actually kind of like that it does move a little bit more because I feel like it's easier to blend, whereas my F80 I sometimes feel like it's very stiff and I can't do circular motions, and the only thing I can do is pat, whereas this I can do circular motions and pat it out. So this I am in love with. This one here is the 113. This is what I use for all my BB creams. I do use it for liquid foundations and stuff too, but I noticed that like with the Dr. Jart BB Disappour, this compared with that is just like heaven. They just work so nicely together. This just blends it out in seconds. It makes it look flawless. I've been kind of obsessed with the Dr. Jart BB Disappour lately, just because it actually like matches me a little bit since I've gotten a little bit of color this summer. Normally it's just a smidge too dark, but these two paired together, like I said, just blends it out so quickly. It's so beautiful and like airbrushed looking. So obsessed with this one, especially for that BB cream. This one I kind of already talked about. This is the 114. This is that, you know, soft angled one that I use with the Bare Minerals bronzer. That's really the only product I have used it with because I don't want to use it with anything else because I like those two so much together, but it just, again, very quickly blends it out. I just kind of, like I said, stipple it on. I'll come up here and do kind of a combination of like windshield wiper back and forth strokes and kind of circular ones. I mostly do the circular motions, but sometimes I'll kind of go back and forth just to kind of spread the product out a little bit more. But it's so nice and it blends out so quickly and no like patchiness or anything like that. So I'm in love with this one as well. And then lastly, I have not used this one a lot this month, but I've used it in past months and I can't wait to go back to using it. This is the 115. It's just kind of a weird shaped brush, just kind of comes up to a point, and I was like, you know, I don't really know what to do with this, but I had seen several people use this kind of brush for like concealer before, and And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna try it. And this was a few months ago, and I think I was pairing it with like the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, and it was seriously like pat, 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 done. Like it was just a couple quick little pats and my concealer was blended out. I haven't really been using it lately though, just because of the NYX Gotcha Covered. These two don't really pair very well together. It's just too thick of a concealer. So that one I end up having to use my beauty blender with. But this with like lighter concealers like the Urban Decay Naked Skin, Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, just a few couple little pats and it's blended out to perfection and I love it. Next up is my newest Milani blush. This is in Blossom Time Rose. This is so gorgeous. This is basically, as much as I kind of hate to say it, it is like that NARS Orgasm color. It is that beautiful peachy pink with gold shimmer in it. And like looking at it, you can see the gold shimmer. You can't like, because I think NARS Orgasm actually has like glitter, kind of big glittery shimmery pieces in it. That's not how this is. It's a really fine gold shimmer, so it's not like you can actually pick out pieces of shimmer in it. It's just like a beautiful subtle kind of accent in it, but once it's on the cheeks, that gold shimmer just pops and it just makes you look so, I guess I kind of want to use the word alive a little bit, just because normally I look so pale and then I put on blush and I'm like, I'm back. But anyways, it's just such a beautiful like youthful color and I just love it for the summertime just because it gives such a beautiful flush to the cheeks without being like boom in your face and very bright, and it's still like a brighter, more summery color, but it just gives a beautiful flush to the skin. And like I said, that gold shimmer, it's there and it's subtle, but it's like the perfect amount of shimmer that once it's on your cheeks, it doesn't make like your texture stand out, because I have large pores, so that's something that I notice a lot with shimmery blushes, is that the texture in my cheeks just pops out, and with this it doesn't. So I'm obsessed with this. Plus, I literally tap my brush into this and that's like enough to do one whole cheek. Whereas the other ones I do kind of swirl my brush a little bit more, so the pigmentation with this one actually seems a little bit better than some of the other rose blushes from Milani, but stunning. I always just want to like leave this on my vanity for everybody to look at, because I mean it's so pretty. It's too pretty not to. A couple of new face washes we've tried this month. This one I didn't really, I don't know, I didn't have high expectations for, I guess. This is the Josie Maran Argan Cleansing Oil. It just says Nourishing Argan Oil Daily Cleanser for all skin types. And as you can see in the bottle, you know, it looks like your typical oil cleanser, like it's super runny, whatever. You know, it's probably just going to feel like another oil cleanser. But the weirdest thing happens when you use this, and it's actually kind of one of the nicest things that I like. Most oil cleansers, you know, I dump them in my hand and they're so liquidy, they're like running through my fingers, and it's just like, you know, it just feels like an oil. It's just very smooth feeling. This, I dump it in my hand and it feels like an oil, but once I put my hands together to start, you know, getting on my hands to put it on my face, it gets thick. Thick like a gel cleanser, which is really, really weird, because obviously, like I said, you can see in the bottle here, it looks like a typical oil. It's super runny. But yeah, just once you start rubbing your hands together, it just gets super thick like a gel cleanser. And I do have to kind of like re-wet my hands a little bit, and then, you know, it kind of makes it more of a, not quite as thick of a gel cleanser, and I'm able to actually get it on and it foams up and stuff. So I'm really, really impressed with this, because it makes my skin feel ridiculously soft. Super, super soft, super, 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 super moisturized. It's wonderful. I'm really, really wanting to get the full size of this. I haven't looked and seen how much the price is for it yet. My boyfriend has even started using it, and I'm like, are you using my face wash? And he's like, no. And I'm like, and then he's like, yeah, sorry. And it's like, yeah, it's that good that like even he is using it, and that kind of says a lot, because he is kind of stuck on the other cleanser that I'm going to talk about. So this is fantastic. Cannot wait to repurchase the full size of this. The other cleanser we have been obsessed with this month is the Skin Fix Foaming Oil Cleanser. I made my boyfriend try a Biore scrub on his skin, and I should not have done that. It made him break out. It was really bad. He had an allergic reaction. It was red, rash, breakouts, horribleness. And he's like, I just can't use your face washes, because since I have more oily skin and he has more dry, a lot of mine are a little bit more drying and kind of not good for his more dry, sensitive skin. So he's just like, I can't use your face washes. And I'm like, because he's so used to me having Purity that he would use that once in a while, and since I've kind of been out of Purity for a while, I'm kind of waiting for a point perk to get Purity again. He's kind of like, and I just can't use your face washes, and I'm like, I agree. So I decided to pick him up his own, and then he was kind of like, you didn't need to do that. I just won't, you know, use face wash on my face. And I'm like, no, you're not using body wash, you're using face wash. So anyways, enough the rambling. I ended up picking up this for him because he really seems to like the oil cleansers. Like I said, he liked the Josie Moran one, but he's also tried a couple of my other ones, like the E-Close cleansing oil. He's tried that one before, really liked it, and it made his skin really soft, really moisturized it. So I decided to pick this one up because it's kind of, it's an oil, but it like foams up and stuff, so then I'm like, then he'll kind of feel like he is getting his face clean. This is really, really weird. It says foaming oil cleanser, but when you pump it out, it does come out just like a white, like cream. It almost just kind of looks like Purity, except for it's more white, whereas Purity is a little more yellow toned. And it doesn't really feel like an oil, except for it feels very, very buttery and like velvety. So it feels really, really nice. But then obviously as you add water, it suds up and foams up. Obsessed. It removes makeup so well. So that's why I really like it, is because I'm like, it's kind of like a dupe for Purity for me. It's great for sensitive skin. I want to say that it was 97.5% organic or something like that. The whole Skin Fix line is kind of more on the natural side. And he loves it too. Like, it really moisturizes his skin. It doesn't dry it out, but it like cleans it enough to get, you know, the dirt and grime and stuff off of your face. So obsessed. I'm kind of thinking about just sticking with this instead of getting Purity, because I do like it that much and it takes off makeup so well. But we'll see, because I also kind of have a special place for Purity. So we'll see. But I am obsessed with this. He is obsessed with this. So we will definitely be repurchasing this as soon as it is done. That is kind of my one complaint though, is that because of the packaging, you can't really tell when you're out. I mean, holding it now, I think it feels pretty full, but it is got, you know, kind of a metal, it's not metal, I guess it's plastic, but it's kind of a heavier package in general. So it's kind of hard to tell how full it is. And it wouldn't be a favorites video if I didn't talk about some lip products. So I'm going to talk about a couple lip colors that I have really been enjoying. Besides, of course, my MAC Russian Red. I wore that for like the first 2 weeks of the month, and I wouldn't necessarily say I enjoyed it, but I have kind of grown to like red lipstick a little bit more, at least this last month. I do wish it was a little bit of a warmer red as opposed to Russian Red, which is a cool toned red. But anyways, besides that, these are kind of some other colors I have been enjoying. Been really into like stuff that's kind of on my lips right now. So what I have on my lips right now is actually the NYX High Voltage lipstick in Sweet 16. The high voltage lipsticks, at least at my Ulta, they're on clearance, so I kind of don't know if that means they're getting rid of them or what. But I put this on this morning and I'm like, ugh, it just literally feels like I'm smearing like good butter on my face. Like, it just feels so buttery and creamy, and it's so pigmented. It's just like swipe, 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 you're done. Maybe, you know, touching up the lines a little bit, but, you know, pigmentation wise, it's so pigmented. So this is really nice, and it's kind of along the lines of like the color that I've been enjoying. The other combo, this is the Tarte Lip Surgeons in Dainty. Kind of a bright pink, it's almost a little bit peachy pink. So this is kind of what Dainty looks like. That's like all I have left. I was panning this. I still am panning it, but at least I enjoy the color. And I love that, but I kind of wanted to amp up the shine a little bit with it, especially because this high voltage I feel like has a pretty decent amount of shine on its own. The Lip Surgeons kind of does, but I don't know, this just kind of helps amp it up. And this is the Too Faced Lip Injection. When you get it, it comes clear, but obviously I've paired these two so many times together that the gloss has turned to pink. So I'm kind of panning these two together to use them up, but these two together are beautiful. The lip pumping gloss, it's not my favorite thing in the whole world, but it looks really, really beautiful with that color. So that's one just kind of color I have been obsessed with on my lips. The other colors that I've kind of been obsessed with have been nudes, which for me is surprising because I feel like I went through a phase where I was just like, I can't wear nude lips because I can't find one that I like. I've owned MAC Hue like a really long time ago, and that was like, for me at the time, I was like, that's the only nude lipstick that ever looks good on me. And like, I don't really have a MAC super close to me, so I'm like, I'm never gonna be able to get it. It's like I'm just giving up on nude lipsticks. But recently I've noticed that I keep picking up nude lipsticks and I keep enjoying all of the ones I'm picking up. So these are two of my more recent nude lipstick purchases, but I do have like some other ones like Maybelline matte lipsticks. I have a couple, like I think there's Daringly Nude or something like that. So these are kind of the two new ones I picked up. This is the Katy Perry CoverGirl matte lipstick. This is in the color Sphinx. So that's what it looks like there. I've noticed a lot of people picking these up, so this must be a pretty popular color, but I really like the finish of this. I know it's not matte, which I think is a little bit disappointing. It's a little bit deceiving. I think CoverGirl is claiming that it's a demi matte, and I'm like, okay, I can give you that it's a demi matte, but it's not a matte. But that is what it looks like there. It's just such a beautiful, comfortable nude lipstick. It's not the longest lasting thing, which I think is kind of because of the fact that it's like a demi matte as opposed to an actual matte lipstick. So it's not the longest lasting thing, but it is really, really comfortable, and I just love the way it feels on my lips. It's just wonderful. Plus, like I said, the color has just been everything that I've been reaching for. The other one, this one I do believe is matte. Yes, this one is. This is the Soap & Glory Sexy Mother Pucker, and this is in Super Nude. They do have a similar color in their like satin line, but this is along that same color line. It's actually basically the same color, but it's a little bit more matte. So you can kind of see this is what I mean when I'm like, been wearing this kind of nude lip color a lot lately. I also have the Fiona Styles, what is this? The Color Impact Matte Lip Crayon in Rockaway. This too is really similar, and I've been wearing this. Give you a swatch of that. So there's that one. So all three of these are really along that line of like this really pretty kind of nude color that I've been wearing and been obsessed with. So I'm glad that I finally am getting some nude lipsticks in my collection that I really like, and I feel like I have good nude lipsticks that I can reach for. So I've been obsessed with this kind of nude color on my lips lately. So I have a couple eyeshadow palettes in my honorable mentions here. The first one up, I feel like this one here is kind of controversial. Like, a lot of people have said they really like it, a lot of people say they hate it, and that if you own any of the other Lorac Pro palettes, you won't like this one because the quality sucks. I think so far it's pretty good. I have it on today for the most part. I have it with Stila Kitten on the lid, but like the matte colors in my crease and outer V and stuff, that is from this palette. The second I saw this palette, I was like, yes, this is what I need. Like, this is the palette I feel like I've been waiting for. For some reason, something about this palette just like screams out to me, and it's like, these are the colors that you want. These are the ones that you've been waiting for. Like light pewter, I'm obsessed with this color and just want to wear it every single day. I felt that way about Medallion too, but Medallion actually wearing it, this is the one color in the palette that I think sucks. Like, I hate Medallion, and I think a lot of people do, just because it's kind of it reminds me like the old Urban Decay glitter eyeshadows where it's just that chunky glitter and it's not very smooth. I mean, I guess when you swatch it, it feels smooth, but it just like, and actually on my finger, it doesn't look terrible. But putting it on my eyes yesterday, I was like, this looks awful. So I actually mixed it with a highlighter, a Becca Opal, and I mixed that on my lid and put it together. But I mean, it just doesn't apply nicely or feel very nice. So Medallion is the one color in the palette that I genuinely think just sucks. This is like a true Lorac palette though. Like the mattes, well, really all of the colors do kick up shadow. So you are kind of like losing shadow in a way since it is kicking up, you know, powder. But I guess I kind of expected that going in since the other Lorac shadows are like that. So, and it's something that if you can kind of just accept it and, you know, it doesn't bother you that much, then you'll like the palette. If it really bothers you and you feel like it's just a huge waste of money because it does that, then don't pick it up because it's like the same as the other Lorac palettes. But otherwise, I mean, in terms of like blendability and stuff, I feel like it's the same as all the other Lorac Pro palettes. I don't own one, so I guess I can't speak to that one, but, you know, owning two, I feel like it's just as blendable. There are a couple shadows, I think, in the two that are maybe a little bit more blendable, a little bit smoother. Like, I know my navy color in that palette is just like butter. I just put it on, it blend a little bit, and it's blended out and I don't have to do anything. But most of these I feel are pretty close. I maybe have to blend a little bit more, but I feel like they're really, really close. So like I said, I know that one's a little controversial, but I personally really like it. A lot of the colors really were something that I wanted and was kind of looking for, so I'm really glad I got that. The other one is the Buxom Dolly's Wild Side eyeshadow palette. I got called for jury duty about the middle of the month, and it was a very, very stressful situation for me. And I used this eyeshadow palette while I was on jury duty just because since they are primer infused, I was like, cool, like just skip the extra step and just get out the door and get going. They're so beautiful and so wonderful, and they're just such a soft, pretty look. Wonderful. I do want to do a review on this, so I don't really want to say too much yet, but that is the Buxom palette. This one I feel like is not going to be a surprise. This is the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I looked at this and I was like, it's really, really beautiful. It's super pigmented, but then I was kind of like looking at it again a couple days later and I was like, I don't know, like, am I going to use these colors? They don't really seem like anything I'm going to use. But I've been doing my weekly makeup baskets and I do pick out 2 palettes plus my Pan That palette, and then, you know, I kind of use them for 2 weeks and I force myself to use them, whether it's a palette I hate or whether it's a palette I love. And that's kind of how this was. I was like, I'm going to force myself to use this for the 2 weeks, so that way, you know, at the end of the 2 weeks I have a good idea of how much I really like this palette. I fell in love because it's just obviously very creamy and blendable. This color right here, I can never like pronounce like half these names. Primavera? I don't know. It's just the most beautiful gold color. Like, I finally found a gold color that I really, really love on myself. But all of these are so blendable, and they're colors that I just didn't realize like I needed. This fresco color up here, this like really weird kind of purpley mauve gray color is beautiful. It's stunning. It's something, I don't have anything like that in my collection and I'm obsessed with it. Like same thing with golden ochre. I don't really have anything like it except for I think the Lorac Pro 3 might have something sort of similar. But I'm just like, these are colors I didn't even know that I needed. And I even wore the Love Letter and Venetian Red the other day, which are kind of more of the more bold like pops in the collection. I've even used like this one. I used it pretty subtly, but like I've used everything in here to the point where I'm like, all of these can be totally made very, very wearable, or they can be very, very bold, and I love it. So I end up falling in love with this palette a little bit more than I thought I would. It's still only an honorable mention just because I feel like I haven't owned it long enough to say that it's a favorite, but it's very, very good. So I'm very happy I picked that up. Now lastly, onto my unfavorites. There were definitely a few things this month that just didn't meet my expectations. First thing being the NYX Gotcha Covered Concealer. This is obviously from my Project Pan, but the biggest issue I've been having with this is causing all of my makeup to have problems. I'm noticing that my eyeshadows on my lower lash line are kind of starting to, I don't know, transfer in a weird way. My mascara at the end of my shift is like, you know, down here particularly has transferred a ton, and I think it's because of this concealer. I haven't really been able to pinpoint anything else because I know, for example, one of the mascaras I've tried with this is the Benefit They're Real, and the Benefit They're Real I've had so many samples of that I'm like, I've never had problems with it transferring. It's a water resistant mascara. It's not waterproof, but it is water resistant, so it should be able to hold up through a 6-hour shift. But yet when I pair it with this concealer, it's transferred a ton and I look basically like a raccoon by the end of my shift. So I'm kind of like, what could be causing it? And I'm pretty sure it's this concealer. I do like cake it up with powder to like try to make it really set and so that issue doesn't happen, but it keeps happening regardless, and I'm just really pretty over this concealer. I think it's kind of difficult to blend out and that kind of thing. So yes, this is a great like full coverage concealer. So like this would, I think, would be good for like maybe covering like tattoos and like serious discolorations and things like that. But I just don't, for me, for my under eyes, this is just not working. So that has been a huge unfavorite this month, and definitely won't be getting that again as soon as it's done. Essence has kind of let me down this month. I have 2 products of theirs that just did not work for me. Finally moved on to my Essence Make Me Brow, and I had heard so many people be like, oh, this is an exact dupe for the Benefit Gimme Brow. I kind of disagree, and the reason why is I think because of the wand. The wand I cannot get to deposit like hardly any color onto my brows, and the fibers don't really want to come off of the wand either. So I've actually had to take my Ulta Brow Tint like mascara wand and put that in there and actually use that because that kind of finally deposits some of the product, and even then the product is just not as pigmented as I was expecting it to be. I feel like the Benefit Gimme Brow, it's more pigmented and it just seems like it works better for me. So this is kind of an unfavorite for me because of that. The other one, this is the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. In addition to having issues with this transferring because of the NYX concealer, it just gets very clumpy very quick. I'm kind of used to mascaras that are lengthening and a little bit volumizing, but this is just like straight up volumizing. So this gets kind of spidery and kind of thick on your lashes really quick. So this is a fantastic volumizing mascara. Like if you don't overdo it, it's fantastic for volume. But I guess I was just kind of looking for something that was going to be lengthening and volumizing, because I feel like one of the big things for me with false lashes is length. So yes, it adds a fair amount of volume, but you can kind of get ones that more just add length, and that's kind of what I thought this was going to be when it said false lash effect, but it's very, very volumizing. So if you want a good volumizing mascara, this is perfect for that. It's just not good for lengthening, and it's kind of why I don't love it. So I will still use it. I'll continue to kind of play with it more, but right now it's just kind of an unfavorite because it's just, it can get a little out of hand and a little spidery kind of quick. Last unfavorite, unfortunately, I don't have here with me. I talked about it on Instagram, or I posted about it on Instagram, and it's actually at the same time I got the Josie Maran cleanser. The reason I got the Josie Maran cleanser was because I picked up the Jaclyn Hill Becca palette, which we've all talked about, and kind of, I think we're all kind of over it at this point. Like, we're like, okay, it happened, like, let's move on. But I returned mine, and the thing that sucked is that I actually did have one of the really nice, buttery, good pigmentation ones. But the reason why I returned it was because the color that Jaclyn designed, I don't remember the exact name of it, looked horrible on me. And that's kind of a weird thing to say, because I feel like eyeshadows, like, I'm not very picky about them. There are very few eyeshadows that I'm like, oh, that just does not work for me. But that one just, for whatever reason, did not look good on me at all, and I just felt like I was like, I can't make it work. It sucks because it's like a good palette and they're so rare, but the color just doesn't look good on me, so I had to return it, which was, like I said, kind of heartbreaking because I actually had a good palette. So that's kind of the other unfavorite, and you won't see it again just because I returned it. So that is my last unfavorite, but overall this month went really well in terms of beauty things, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.